our keynote speaker. This is Professor Peter Mathews. Professor Mathews has over 30 years of teaching as both a college and university professor. He has been featured as a political commentator on Al Jazeera America, as well as many other TV, radio, and media outlets. We are lucky and privileged to have him here today, so please give a warm Orange County welcome to Professor Peter Mathews.
Good afternoon, sisters and brothers for Bernie. How you doing today? Buenas tardes, señoras y señores por la Bernie también. It is great to be here with my sisters and brothers from Orange County. Although I live in Long Beach, I teach in Orange County at Cypress College, and it's always been a home to me. I want to ask you if you're feeling the burn. Are you seeing the burn? Are you doing the burn? That's a dance you got to figure out. You got to come up with the burn dance, okay, when you get around to it. But, ladies and gentlemen, this is a real serious battle. We are in a revolutionary phase right now, which says that enough is enough. That the 99% of us who've been exploited and kept down for 40 or 50 years, especially since Reaganomics, where children, 1/5 of our children go to bed hungry every night, 17% of Americans are officially in poverty. We got young children not being able to get preschool or after child care. We got working parents working more and more hours for less and less, which means 2 or 3 jobs, am I right? And that is a problem. We got college students whose tuitions have been skyrocketing from $6 for all 15 units when I first started teaching in California, and that was the actual fee. At Cypress College, in San Francisco City College, where I taught back in the late 70s, it was $6 service fee for all 15 units. There was no tuition. Do you want Bernie to bring that back? Yeah! Absolutely. Governor Pete Wilson went to UC Berkeley Law School at that time and paid $37 service fee for all 15 units of law school, 3 years of law school, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think about that? Why can't you have the same today? Aren't you as American as Governor Wilson? Don't you belong in this, our home right here ourselves? Absolutely. What about Arnold Schwarzenegger? He paid $6 for all 15 units at Santa Monica College back in the 70s. So Bernie Sanders has the vision to bring back tuition-free education because education is a human right. It is not a privilege. Would you agree with me on that? And it is a foundation of a strong economy and, more importantly, a strong democracy. Am I right? Because if you don't have an educated workforce, educated public, we will have a democracy which fails. And you can see what's going on with Donald Trump bringing in the hordes of people that are undereducated or not educated fully about the issues. So Donald Trump blames the undocumented workers and Muslims from coming to this country. He blames them instead of looking at the corporations that have taken our jobs to global south, third world countries, cheap labor countries. And this is a total, I don't know what to call it. What can you call that when someone like Donald Trump goes out there and tells basically lies and half-truths about what's going on, and then thousands follow him? We need to bring Bernie in there, folks, because he'll bring us the education we need, tuition-free, and also the education that will uplift us to run this country from the bottom up. Would you agree with me and stand with me on that? Absolutely. If you look at healthcare is something that's dear to Bernie's heart. Single-payer, universal healthcare is what we need, and Dr. Honigman talked about it, am I right? Single-payer, because healthcare can be guaranteed by non-profit Medicare for All system, as they have in Canada and other countries in Europe, at a fraction of the cost that we have today. And Bernie says healthcare is a human right, not a privilege. Because without our health, we have nothing. We cannot study, we cannot play, we cannot go on vacation, we cannot progress and develop our full human potential. So Bernie Sanders, the visionary, sees this. I must say, there is a scripture in Proverbs 29:18 in the scriptures. It says, where there is no vision, the people perish. Have you heard that, ladies and gentlemen? Where there is no vision, the people perish. And this vision is what we got to bring back. The vision of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. The vision of Eleanor Roosevelt. Don't forget Eleanor. She was the brains behind Franklin, okay? But Franklin Delano Roosevelt, that vision that every human being counts, that these children of unemployed workers back in the 1930s with mom at home, not having a job, dad's looking for work hundreds of miles away. What did FDR say? We, the people, will take care of those little children. We're going to write them a check so they have food in their mouth and milk to drink so they can grow up to be very strong and wonderful American adults to help the other people. They'll pass it forward. It'll go around. And that's what Bernie's asking us to do. Pay it forward this campaign. Am I right or not? That? You know what it means. I can feel your soul and heart. We're all there in this together in the same way, ladies and gentlemen. It's such a privilege to be here with you folks because I do believe that Bernie deserves our 100% commitment. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to have a person that has not been bought by the corporate lobbyists. Bernie refuses campaign money from corporate lobbyists. When he first ran, about 40 years ago, for the mayorship of Burlington, Vermont, Bernie Sanders ran without corporate money, without developer money, without big business money. He went door to door with a bunch of volunteers and students, and he ran 7 times and lost. You know that, right? For mayor. 7 times and lost. The 8th time, he won by 10 votes. What do you think about that? He won by 10 votes and became mayor of Burlington, Vermont. And the beauty of Bernie, as he will do once he's president, when he is president in January, Bernie did the same thing, he'll do the same thing he did back in Burlington. When he became mayor, Bernie Sanders carried out his campaign promise. His #1 campaign platform promise in Burlington was to take the utility company that was gouging the people with the rates being too high, way too high for electric bills and gas bills. Bernie said, we're going to take this utility company, we're going to buy it by the people of Burlington. The government, through the people, will buy that utility company and make it public and nonprofit and bring you lower utility rates. And what do you think Bernie Sanders did as soon as he got in office? What do you think he did? He did that. He brought the rates down with a nonprofit utility. How many of you knew that story about Bernie's running 7 times for office and fulfilling the first promise? Did you guys all know the details of that? Many of you did, but it's very important to share this word that this man is not coming out of nowhere. And the thing about Bernie Sanders, he's not like most of us. He doesn't like to brag about his personal life, does he? He is a man who believes in the vision. That vision that will bring everything that people need. And he only talks about basically the campaign policy issues. The issues of healthcare, jobs, education, the gap between rich and poor growing, the wars that are unjust and unnecessary. He talks about the wasteful defense spending, the defense budget. Bernie talks about these issues, and that's what makes him burn. And yet, you and I need to tell every one of our friends who are going to vote that Bernie is a human being. He has a personal story. He has been committed all of his life to these things. He didn't just come out of nowhere. He's not a Johnny-come-lately. He has been doing these things on the ground up. He's done it for human reasons, not for humane reasons, not for himself or his own ego or to get rich. Bernie Sanders, the last time I looked at those reports of the federal government, is only worth $700,000, and that includes his wife and him who own a house. That's their house, basically. He has not accumulated wealth and money from kickbacks and higher offices, other things that many of these politicians have done. Am I right on that? That is the truth. That is the truth. Bernie Sanders is worth $700,000, and Donald Trump is worth how much? Or he says he's worth $10 billion. He's probably worth about $4 billion, but still, that's a lot of money. Are you going to trust a billionaire and a corporate-sponsored Hillary Clinton to lead our people's revolution? No way. No way. I mean, Hillary Clinton has taken corporate money, Wall Street money, as you know, all the time, left and right from the beginning of her career, and she actually supported the repealing of Glass-Steagall. You know Glass-Steagall was what was keeping us from having a crash in the stock market, right? But Bill and Hillary and the Republicans, which was led by a man named Senator Phil Gramm, these guys pushed through the Glass-Steagall Act, deregulation of banks, privatization of the banks even further, and this is what brought about the crash in the stock market that knocked all of us on our backs. And we're still haven't recovered from that. So Bernie is a person who knows he's free of the big money from big business and banks, unlike Hillary Clinton. So I'm not going to be negative and spend a lot of time on her or on Donald Trump. Let's talk about Bernie Sanders a little bit more. I'll tell you a bit about how we can win this thing. There's a very important and a good way to win this, okay? I got to meet Bernie Sanders in May of 2015. That was amazing. It was such a great pleasure. He had not announced yet for the presidency, but I met him in a Union Hall at a rally in Los Angeles, and he was thinking about running. But he told us, we were only like 400 or 500 people there. He said, listen, I can't run on my own if I'm going to run. You folks have to lead the revolution. And I say, when the people lead, the leaders will follow. Mahatma Gandhi said that. Bernie Sanders knows it very well. So Bernie has told us, like he did 9 months ago, you out there, which is our people, together, we have to lead the revolution, and he will certainly be there as our team player to be there and implement the revolution. And this is a completely different kind of democracy than what we've had so far. Our democracy has been top-down mostly. Money from up comes down, and it's supposed to trickle down, and it never trickles down. Instead, Bernie is saying, bring the power from here upward. And that's why you guys are here. When I gave Bernie, I would love to give you guys a hand. Give yourselves a hand. We got to take a break for a second. And I'm about to wrap this up here. But I want to thank you for being here and continue to be here for Bernie. I gave Bernie this book of mine in May. It's called Dollar Democracy with Liberty and Justice for Some. How to Reclaim the American Dream for All. And the title says it all, that Americans have lost the dream. We've had the dream taken away from us by corporate lobbyists, by exporters of our jobs, and by corporations and pharmaceuticals and big banks. And Bernie Sanders says we can bring this dream back. And when he got my book, a few months later, his campaign said, Bernie supports this book, it reflects his political philosophy, and it would be a good reading. And I'm not here to sell a book, don't get me wrong, we are here for Bernie Sanders. But the book is available to show you what has happened to America and how specifically we can take it back. And I will tell you, we'll start with what we're doing today. This California's primary is just less than 3 months away, right? June the 7th. 3 months away. Let's hear it for California, the greatest state in the nation. I love it. I chose to move here. I grew up in Maryland, lived in New York, I lived in New Jersey, I lived in Michigan, I went to high school in Texas and university in Texas, and I chose to come to the Golden State because we heard so much about California. And 40 years ago, I was not disappointed when I got here. So we need to take this state and put Bernie over the top with California. Let me explain something that maybe some of you are not totally familiar with it because we've been running campaigns throughout the country so far. Many of the states in the United States have in the Democratic primary what's called proportional representation, where, for example, if Hillary wins 45% of the vote in that state, she gets 45% of the delegates. If Bernie gets 55% of the vote, he gets 55% of the delegates, right? That's how it's been in many, many states. So many of you think that California is like that also, but it's not. It's the largest state with over 400 delegates. Well, they've added a few, yes. 500, I've seen the range from 450 to 546, but I'll take the 546. That's a huge number of delegates, especially if you include some of the super delegates from here. But let's take the pledge delegates. The last I heard it was about almost 500. These delegates are not elected statewide. They're not elected by proportional representation, and they're not winner take all either. A lot like what Florida was for the Republicans, the winner take all. This state of California is divided into 53 congressional districts, right? These are House of Representative districts where each member of the House gets elected. For example, Cypress College is sitting in the 47th congressional district, a district that includes Long Beach and Cypress and Los Alamitos, and I believe Anaheim and parts of Anaheim. This is the 47th congressional district. This district will have 6 or 7 delegates already set up to go. Whoever wins the single largest number of votes, and now we only have 2 candidates, Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders,